Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I thought I would hang out with you this Saturday and answer questions about a proper human diet. You know, there are people out there in the world, people in positions of power, who are basically recommending that you eat a slave diet, a prisoner diet, a fallback food diet. They want you to eat lots of rice and beans and wheat and pea protein. They want you to eat lots of fruits and then more grains. And we know very clearly from archaeology and anthropology that these are the diets of prisoners and slaves. These are poverty foods. These are starvation foods. And what I'm advocating, I call a proper human diet because it's a diet that human beings ate for the majority of their time on this planet. Our ancestors ate this diet for millions of years. And if we are to optimize our health, both our physical health, but also our mental health, we also have to eat a proper human diet. And I'm happy to explain what that is and answer any questions that you have about medicine, medical conditions, medications, nutrition, fasting, any of that kind of stuff, because all of that is on the proper human diet spectrum. So I am ready. Now is the time to type your questions into the comments. I am live on 4 different platforms, and I am ready to answer questions. Rob Brox is in China. Wow. Excellent. So glad you guys could join me. If you have a friend who's suffering from metabolic disease, please share this video with them. You can send the link. There's a share button. Send it as a text message, an email, direct message, or you can just tag them in the video comments, and they should get a notification. Donna says, hey, doctor, I need help with my A1C. So an A1C is the 3-month average of what your blood sugar has been running. And Donna, the way you're going to lower your A1C back to normal, I'm assuming yours is high since there's no such thing as one that's too low. The way you're going to lower it back down to normal is by lowering the amount of daily carbohydrates that you eat each and every day. And so calculate how many total carbohydrates you're eating a day. You might be shocked to find you're eating 200, 300, maybe 400 total grams of carbs a day. And as long as you do that, you're going to have an elevated A1C, and you don't want that. That's very dangerous. It increases your risk of all kinds of disastrous complications. Thank you, Tamara, for the super chat. Any super chats we get goes towards our mission of improving the health of the entire world. So super chats, super thanks. Any of those things are greatly appreciated. Tia says, hey, Dr. Berry, I watched your video on the helpful bacteria all over our body, and it made me wonder if we should be using moisturizer for our face and body. So if you're eating a diet that is rich enough in animal fats, including omega-3 rich fats, you're not going to need a moisturizer. In many cases, people use expensive soap and scrubs to scrub all of the naturally occurring healthy oil off their skin. Also, they scrub several layers of the dead skin cells that are on their face on purpose. Those cells are supposed to be there. It's called the stratum corneum. It's a protective layer. You scrub all that off, and then you apply some chemical moisturizer to your face. And you've just spent 30 minutes in the bathroom and probably $30, depending on where you bought it at, and you didn't help the health of your face at all. You decimated your face's microbiome. You scrubbed off a lot of the protective cells that are there for a reason, and you scrubbed off all of the essential healthy oil that your face had secreted. Your face is supposed to have oil on it. That's normal. And then after you got rid of all that beneficial stuff, then you put a fake moisturizer that's made in a chemical factory back on your face. Yeah, if you want to use a moisturizer on your face, I would use a really high quality beef tallow if you think you need that. That way you're not introducing any chemicals onto your face. But the vast majority of people don't need any moisturizer on their face at all, and they wash their face much too often and much too vigorously. Your face is not dirty. Okay. Stop with the scrubbing. We've got, there's Paola. Hey, Paola, how you doing? Yeah, so many people say, gosh, meat and eggs are really expensive. And then they spend half of their grocery money on cookies and candy and bread and chips and soft drinks. But they want to complain that meat and eggs are getting expensive. It's like, if you just stopped buying all the junk, you would have quite a chunk of change left that you could use to buy real food with. And I know money's tight, times are tight, and you might not even have enough money even in that case, but at least you're going to have more money left when you don't buy the junk. Matthew says, some of my family think I'm crazy for doing Ketovore. I'm starting to think people are crazy for doing the typical Western diet. Yeah. So did you guys realize that the diet that's recommended by the American Diabetes Association, there's not a single controlled research study in humans that proves that diet is the best diet for diabetics, or that it's even safe for humans to eat that diet long term. And so many people hear about keto or ketovore or carnivore, and they're like, well, that's a new kind of diet. I bet there's no research to support that. Well, guess what? There's no research at all supporting the USDA's MyPlate, nor was there any evidence supporting the USDA's food pyramid. They were completely unsupported by any meaningful research. What about the American Heart Association's DASH diet? Has that been proven safe for long-term consumption by human beings? That's not a trick question. The answer is no. No, it has not. There is no controlled research in humans showing that a diet that low in salt, that low in saturated fat is healthy or optimal for human beings. And so when you look at it like that, keto, ketovore, carnivore, they have just as much research as the standard American diet, as MyPlate, as the ADA diet, the AHA diet, and any other diet, wherever you're watching in the world. I guarantee you the diet that your government recommends is a poverty diet. It's a prisoner diet. It's a slave diet. And it has not been proven to be safe for humans to consume it long term. Think about that. Many people assume, well, it's the federal government. Of course, they've proven it. No, my friends, it's completely unproven. YouTube man says, I go to boarding school. I want to get on the diet because of hidradenitis suppurativa. Yes, absolutely. This is one of the many skin conditions that are caused directly, excuse me, by chronic inappropriate inflammation and chronic hyperinsulinemia. What's the easiest meat to eat every day? So literally any meat that's pure meat. It can be ground beef. It can be eggs with the yolk. It can be seafood. It can be goat, sheep, lamb. It can be hot dogs and bologna. If you look at the ingredients and make sure that it's an all meat hot dog or all meat bologna, because sometimes they try to add in fillers so that basically it doesn't cost them as much to make that hot dog or that stick of bologna. And you don't want fillers. You want all meat. If it says all meat on there, you're going to flip it around and you're never going to trust the front label, right? You're going to read the ingredients. And if it says, yep, nothing but meat, and it has less than 1 gram of carbohydrates per serving, and the serving size is a meaningful serving size, like 3 pieces of bacon, that makes sense. But if it's like 1/2 a piece of bacon has 2 grams of carbs, then it obviously has too much sugar. Does that make sense? So you can actually eat keto or carnivore out of a gas station if you live on beef jerky and meat sticks, right? It's not ideal, but I guarantee you it's better for you than anything else you can buy in the gas station. Good question. Good question. Shirley, hey Shirley, I posted in our community about my missing depression. It's gone. So Shirley recently adopted the Proper Human Diet. She's at part of our private community. There's over 3,000 people in there now who are supporting each other and sharing their journey back to good health. And her depression is gone. How cool is that? Huzzah, Shirley. Huzzah! That's what I like to hear. That's why I do what I do every day. That's why I'm doing this live right now, is for people like Shirley. I guarantee you, if you'd asked Shirley 6 months ago, Shirley, do you think changing your diet, you think that might help your depression? She would have went, No, duh. That's dumb. I need medications. I need pills. What are you talking about? Now Shirley knows the truth. And Shirley's happy to help you. So if you're suffering from depression right now, I would recommend joining our private community. There's a link in the show notes. And you can hook up with Shirley and say, hey, Shirley, tell me exactly what you did, because I also have depression and I would love for it to also be missing. I would love for my depression to be gone. Jeff says, why does the new video say type 2 is cured at less than an A1C of less than 6.5? Good question, Jeff. So my recent video, I was talking about the spectrum of diabetes. And if your A1C is 6.5 or higher, then you are a type 2 diabetic. If your A1C is less than 6.5, so if it's between 5.7 and 6.4, then you don't officially have type 2 diabetes. You have what we currently call pre-diabetes, and what I would call it early diabetes. But what you want is an A1C less than 5.7. That is non-diabetic. Not only do you not have type 2 diabetes, Jeff, but you also don't have pre-diabetes. I think pre-diabetes is early diabetes. It's just not, or you might call it mild diabetes, but the research has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you have pre-diabetes, that there is permanent damage being done inside your body every single day to the microscopic arterioles and to the capillaries all over your body, that tissues and cells are being glycated or gummed up so they don't function properly by your high sugar levels. So you're right. You want it to be 5.6 or less. And I don't know, I did have written down the UK European conversion, but I think I've misplaced that. I never can remember what normal would be in the UK or Europe. But yeah, you're right. You should be targeting for less than 5.7. So if any of you guys out there, if your doctor's told you that your A1C of 7 is, oh, that's fine, or 6.5, that's fine, that's a lie. That's one of the many lies your doctor may have told you. You want an A1C of 5.6 or less. You deserve an A1C of 5.6 or less. Dad Ada on Instagram lowered their A1C from 12.4 all the way down to 5.6, eating a proper human diet. So reversed not only type 2 diabetes, but also got rid of the pre-diabetes as well. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, Holly. Thank you, Chidara. All right, let's find a good hospitality suite. Thank you for the super sticker. Hospitality. Ron Navy. Since on this, I'm taking electrolytes, noticing my urine is a fluorescent yellow. Is that normal? So I've got a video on my YouTube channel about all the different colors your urine can be and whether that's normal or not. And basically any shade of yellow is not a sign of any kind of disease or problem. So fluorescent yellow is probably from a vitamin or a mineral or an electrolyte. It can be kind of a vivid yellow sometimes, but that's completely normal, Ron. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Al, very much. Thank you, Bonanza Pilot. Sean's got a question. You have a few videos on low iron, but not high ferritin levels. Just got my blood work back. Ferritin is 918.5, freaking out a bit. So read about ferritin, Sean, and you'll quickly realize that just because your ferritin's elevated, that does not mean that you have iron overload, which many primary care doctors will, they'll just knee jerk to that and say, oh, you've got iron overload. You need to cut back on red meat. Completely not true at all. There are many different things that can cause your ferritin to be elevated. Ferritin is a bit of an acute phase reactant. Ferritin can be high if you're still hyperinsulinemic. There are many, many things that can make ferritin high. So you just need to keep working, Sean, on improving your diet, tightening up your diet, making sure that you're not eating anything that's not on the proper human diet spectrum. And your ferritin will continue to return to normal. Thank you, Ren, very much. Buck's, thank you, Buck, very much. Hospitality State. I think I'm perimenopausal. Will this diet help me? I'm on day 5. Hot flushes are awful. Yeah, Hospitality State. One of the things that helped me understand the power of a ketogenic diet years ago when I was just recommending it as a temporary weight loss hack, because I thought it was a fad diet too until I started researching it, is that women with premenopause, perimenopause, menopausal symptoms, their symptoms improve greatly. In fact, I had a couple of women, one was 48 years old, one was 51 years old, who were perimenopausal. Their periods were getting irregular. They were having hot flashes. They started a strict keto diet full of real whole foods. They ate until they were comfortably stuffed. They didn't portion control. And not only did their menopausal symptoms go away, but they started having normal periods again, and both of them got pregnant. The 48-year-old was ecstatic, and the 51-year-old was not happy about that at all. I was on her other list for a few weeks until she came back for follow-up, and she had made peace with it. And she was like, well, I guess thank you. And that was, I was like, I've got to start reading some science and physiology behind this keto thing, because both of the women also lost weight. That's why I prescribed a ketogenic diet for them. But I didn't realize that it would make their menopausal symptoms so much less severe. And in many cases, depending on your age, of course, you'll start having regular periods again. It's almost like it turns back your hormonal clock to a younger age. It's really quite fascinating when you start to read the science. Dirk, hey, Dr. Berry, I had a friend bring up eating for your blood type recently. So it had me wondering, does blood type really have any relation to what we should or shouldn't be eating? So there was a book a few years ago, and I read it as soon as it came out, called The Blood Type Diet. And when I first read the book, it was before I knew anything that I know now. I don't know, it was 10 years ago, a long time ago. I was like, man, that is fascinating and very sexy. I wonder if that's true. And the author actually had research studies in the back of the book. So I'm like, I'm going to look some of this stuff up because I may start recommending this. I'm always looking for new things that might help my patients. When I started looking at the research, it literally didn't prove a single thing that the author was saying in the book. And subsequently, further research, that blood types might matter a little bit, but we currently have no idea how they might matter. So if you have type O, type AB, type A, type B, we have no idea. But we do know, Dirk, what we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that you're still Homo sapiens sapien. You're still a human, regardless of your blood type, and you need to eat on the proper human diet spectrum. And that means very low carbohydrate, nutrient dense, ancestrally appropriate, real whole foods, regardless of your blood type. That's the diet you need to be eating, is somewhere on that spectrum. Brittany, hey, Brittany, can diet cause or help hair loss? Wonderful to see you, and thanks for all the help you're giving to everyone. So, Brittany, when you're losing weight quickly, you're going to have some hair loss. And this actually happens with any diet. Even if you're doing MetaFast or Slim Fast or anything, or if you just lock yourself in a barn and starve yourself, you'll lose weight. Yes, definitely. But you're also going to lose hair. Women after any big stressful event, women are going to notice hair loss. After having a baby, after having a divorce, a breakup, bankruptcy, any huge stressor, you're going to have some hair loss, because when your body thinks that there's danger, it's going to prioritize all the protein for your organs and for your muscles and bones. It's going to, because Brittany, I'd hate for you to go bald, but if you did, you'd still be able to function perfectly as a human. You don't really need your hair, right? I want you to keep your hair, but you see what I'm saying. And so losing weight quickly, even though it's very, very healthy, if you do it properly, you're still going to have some hair loss. And I've got a video on this channel on YouTube that goes into more detail about that. Good to see you, Brittany. Tone Blair, hey, my blood pressure is high at 140/90. I weigh 165 pounds. Fasting insulin's around 5. That's good. Eat primarily animal-based, but do eat fruit. I know you don't approve. Don't really want to do meds. What's next? So even though your fasting insulin is pretty good, we don't know how high your insulin spikes when you eat that fruit. And elevated insulin is going to make your blood pressure go up. What I would do, Tone Blair, before you start taking any medications, is I would do either 60 or 90 days, just meat and eggs. Stop the fruit. Okay. Fruit is full of not only fructose, but it also is full of glucose and sucrose, which is just table sugar. All fruits have some combination of those sugars in them. Those sugars are going to raise your insulin, and they're going to cause glycation all over your body. So I would really stop all the fruit for 60 to 90 days and just eat meat and eggs. Keep up with your blood pressure. Sit down, relax for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, chill out, chillax, check your blood pressure, write it down. Do that roughly 12 hours apart, twice a day. And after, I think you'll notice as you stop the fruit that the blood pressure keeps coming down. Now, it may not come all the way back down to normal. You may still wind up needing a small dose of one blood pressure pill, but that's much preferable than to what the average patient with hypertension, they're taking 2 or 3 blood pressure medications. And I don't want you to have to go through that. Good question. B. Thomas, heart attack 3 years ago, ejection fraction was 40% after the attack. Today, it's back up to 50 to 55%, which is essentially normal ejection fraction. Did carnivore do this improvement? So carnivore definitely helped that. Fasting also definitely helped that. Cardiac muscle cells are full of mitochondria. Okay, more so than many other tissues in your body, the cells of other tissues in your body. Because your heart is constantly working, it has to have a very high amount. It probably has close to 1,000 mitochondria per cell. When you eat a proper human diet and also blend that with some degree of either daily intermittent fasting or a longer fast once a week, you're going to ramp up mitochondrial biogenesis, which means making brand new, perfectly healthy mitochondria, and also mitophagy, which is where your body breaks down the old and damaged mitochondria and recycle them. So absolutely, a proper human diet and intermittent fasting help play a role in you getting your ejection fraction back to normal. Yeah. So keep doing both those things. Carnivore is on the proper human diet spectrum. Do at least an 18-hour daily fast every day, eating a 6-hour feasting window, or you can do a 2 or 3 day fast once a week, or you can do a 4 or 5 day fast once a month. It's up to you. However you want to do your fast is totally fine. Whatever works for you and your family situation and your social situation. Good question. Rachel, 2 weeks on the Ketovore challenge. So my wife, Neisha, is running a Ketovore challenge inside our private group right now. And I think they're on day 11, but you can still join right now. It's going to be a 90-day challenge. And so if you need to join a private community of really helpful people, there's a link down in the show notes that says join our community. Night sweat's gone, joint pain, all but gone, less angry. Thank you, and thanks to you, and thanks to Neisha. Yeah. So how many of you guys are having joint pain right now, and you're like, that's just part of being my age? I used to think that too, but I'm 54. I just was out in the woods working with the chainsaw today for about 3 hours. I came back in and played with Beckett and Bonnie in the floor for about an hour. I have zero joint pain. I get up in the mornings, I get out of bed, just like when in my teen years, I would just hop out of bed and go about my business. I don't wake up and like, oh my God, I don't do any of that. And most people that eat real whole food, meat heavy keto or ketovore or carnivore, they don't do that either. Their joints, it's like their joints are 20 years younger. But what about the angry part? She's less angry. I also notice this as well. When I'm ketovore or carnivore, you virtually cannot make me mad. So like, you know how when you're in traffic and some dumbass cuts you off and you're like, you mother, and you're just instantly furious. I used to be that guy. Like I pity the people that had to ride with me back in the day before I had discovered a proper human diet. Now, literally, I'm just like, we lamb, whatever. I don't even care. It's hard to make me mad, but I guarantee you, if my life or my family's life were in danger, you would see a ferocious berserker come out and probably break a bunch of stuff and maybe break a few people. But that's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be very calm and very cool and collected, but also capable of danger if you threaten us or our family. That's kind of how human beings always were, and that's how we still should be. You shouldn't be chronically angry at the world. That's not a healthy place to be. And yes, your diet can absolutely have an effect on that. Good question. Good question. Sufficient me. Still ketovore. Thank God I have a wife who supports me, my keto journey, even though she doesn't do it. You're very lucky, sufficient me. And we have chickens. Went to Walmart and saw the price of the eggs. Yikes. Yeah. Eggs are starting to return to their true value. A lot of people think that their price is going up, but actually their price has been artificially suppressed by the way the USDA and the big farming conglomerates have done things. Eggs were falsely cheap, and they're basically just returning to what they should rightly be marked at price wise. And so even if you guys have to lower how many different streaming services you're subscribed to, if you have to, knock down your cell phone package a notch, however you need to save money, you deserve the foods of a proper human diet. Your family, your children, they don't deserve every subscription service on your TV, but they do deserve a proper human diet. Think about that. What's more important than the diet you're feeding your family each and every day? What's more important than that? That's literally what your family, the people you love, that's what they're going to be built of. So well done. I hope all you guys get chickens in the backyard, or quail in the garage, or sheep in the pasture, cows in the pasture, because I think the time's coming where that's going to be a sign of wealth, actually. Hey, Ashley, how's it going? It's the best community ever. Love you guys. Ashley's one of our members. She's always interacting with people and helping people and sharing her journey as well. And that's what everybody does in there. I'm so glad that we have you, Ashley. Kristen, what are your thoughts on raw milk? Why the stigma? So back a long time ago in the 1910s, 20s, 30s, the people that sold milk would cut the milk with adulterants. So they would get a gallon of milk and they would pour some of it off, and they would fill it back up with plaster of Paris. They would put all kinds of stuff that made it look whiter, and so they could basically make a bigger markup on the milk. And children were developing severe diseases because of this. And so the U.S. government stepped in and said, hey, there's got to be guidelines about milk because you guys are adulterating the milk. And so in one respect, I like that. But now what they've basically done is they've villainized raw milk. Now, if you see a gallon of raw milk sitting beside the road and you stop and pick it up, that can make you very sick. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But if you buy raw milk from a reputable person who takes care of their cattle and takes care of the milk, raw milk is the least bad kind of dairy that a human being can drink. Now, if the human being in question is under 6 or 7 years of age, then raw milk is a superfood for them. But if you're older than 6 or 7 years of age, you don't need to drink milk anymore. It's not benefiting you at all. The reason that mammals give milk to their babies is so that they will grow and gain weight as quickly as possible. When you drink milk, it makes your insulin go up, which for a child who's growing is a good thing because it helps them put on new body tissue. But for all y'all out there that are grown like me, you don't need to grow anymore, because when you're an adult, you can't grow like this no more. You just grow like this. So of all the milks, I would much prefer you drink a quality, trusted raw milk than pasteurized, homogenized milk from the supermarket. But it's hard to come by, and in some states in the United States, it's actually illegal. So, but is it worth taking the risk? If you've got a young one at home, I think probably the least bad of all the raw milks would be raw goat milk for children. Beckett drinks goat milk every day. We can't find raw goat milk, but if I could find a reputable supplier, we would switch him to raw goat milk immediately. Good question. Good question. Ren says, since accidentally stumbling upon your channel, my weight is down 115 pounds in 10 and a half months. Thank you. Ren, huzzah! Question. Scalp always itches and gets tiny scabs, bumps after meals. Very odd. Now, some people would say this may be oxalate dumping, but you've been on this diet for 10 and a half months, unless you're still eating some oxalate-rich veggies. If you're still keto, then just do an internet search. What are the highest oxalate veggies? And then cut down on those and see if that doesn't go away. But can you guys realize that literally for free, Ren found my YouTube channel and said, who's this crazy redneck from Tennessee? I don't know. He kind of makes sense. I think I'm going to try this. And she's lost 115 pounds in 10 and a half months. Well done, Ren. Well done. I gave you the information, but you did the work. Well done. Lucky Kentucky, Dr. Berry, what can you recommend for people with Crohn's flares that can't tolerate most proteins without severe pain? So tired of eggs and broth. So the vast majority of people with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and irritable bowel disease can eat the protein that's found in animal meat, red meat, effortlessly. And it's actually going to decrease their risk of having a flare-up of Crohn's or UC or IBS. So eggs are great. Broth is real homemade bone broth is also great, but you might need to add back in sheep or goat or cow. But you need some red meat in your diet. And then also, if you could eat some kind of liver, 2 to 4 ounces of chicken liver, sheep's liver, goose liver, calf's liver once a week, that would go a long ways toward keeping you from developing any vitamin or mineral deficiencies. Thank you, Sharon. Body Blow Biscuit Butter says, thanks for sending me to stop the thyroid madness. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I found a new PCP on their site that prescribed Armor. Now on 2 grains, was on levothyroxine. I now feel great. Doctor was surprised. My HDL improved by 20 points and triglycerides are now under 80. That's a proper human diet. And if you have Hashimoto's, you don't need to be on Synthroid or levothyroxine. You need to be on Armor or Nature because they have all of the thyroid hormones. Synthroid and levothyroxine, they only have fake T4. That's all they have. Armor and Nature have T0, T1, T2, T3, and real T4, and also calcitonin. So they actually make everything that a healthy thyroid makes, whereas Synthroid is synthetic. It's not even real T4. It's fake T4. Well done. Well done. Also, best handle of the day so far, Body Blow Biscuit Butter. How did you come up with that? Al Romero. Hello, doctor. My 10-year-old son suffers from hives. He also has a hard time sleeping. His doctors refuse to test to find out why he has hives. What do you recommend? Well, first of all, I recommend you fire that damn doctor and find a doctor that will test your son for allergies and see why he keeps having these recurrent repetitive hives. Secondly, I would remove all the sugar from your son's diet. I would remove all the grains from your son's diet. I would remove all the vegetable oils from your son's diet and let your son eat a diet full of red meat and eggs with the yolk. And he's 10 years old, so he's too old. He doesn't need milk anymore. Definitely no fruit juices. He doesn't need that. That's just pure sugar. And I think what you'll notice is when he's eating a carnivore diet, the hives go completely away and stay completely away. And your son's growth will do even better on the growth chart than it's been doing in the past. Diane says, I got my mom's A1C down to 5.6 after cutting 98% of the carbs from her diet. It's 5.8 currently. She had emergency for a bowel obstruction, and I guess removed a 3.9 centimeter loop in her intestine. I hope it wasn't 3.9 meters. Yeah, so it's very simple. If you just think about carbohydrates as a knob, however many you're currently eating, turn that down to 100 total grams a day. Your A1C is going to improve. It may go to normal. It may not. If it doesn't go back after 90 days, then go down to 50 total grams. Recheck your labs again in 90 days. If that fixes it, huzzah. If it doesn't fix it, turn it down to 20. You will find an amount of total carbohydrates that you can eat each day where your A1C will stay 5.6 or lower, and that's normal. Well done. Black Sun, can a carnivore diet cure a demyelinization disease, CIDP, caused by alcohol consumption? So this is a booger. In many cases, in alcoholics, this is considered a permanent condition. But if anything's going to help, a carnivore diet that's very rich in omega-3 fatty acids, so pastured egg yolks, but definitely seafood like sardines, anchovies, herring, kipper, mackerel, stuff like that, small fish that are not going to be laced with mercury. You want a small fish, not a big fish. That's going to give you all the building blocks to rebuild the myelin sheath that's wrapped around the axons that help the neurons fire more efficiently. So definitely never touch a drop of alcohol again, Black Sun. Definitely make sure that your friend is getting plenty of minerals, like Keto Chow's daily minerals, and eating a diet full of fatty red meat and eggs with the yolk and seafood to get even more omega-3 fatty acids. Good question. Mark Wilson's a new channel member. Welcome, Mark. Eva's a new channel member. And I love that you guys support the work we do on this channel by becoming a channel member. But if you want to be part of the tribe, you want to join, and it's down in the show notes below. Let me see if I've got it on a banner here. I can put up right here. If you want to become part of the tribe where you can actually interact with other people, it's drbarry.com/community. drbarry.com/community. You go there, it costs the same as being a channel member, but you get access to this private network of 3,000 other people who are on the journey to improve their health. But if you just want to support what we do, you can be a channel member. That's fine. Thank you so much for that. D. Johnson, thoughts in carnivore and/or salt for Meniere's disease, please. Yeah, so most doctors will tell you if you're diagnosed with Meniere's, you need to greatly decrease your salt intake. Did you know that there's not a shred of research to support that? Because in patients they studied, these patients all had hyperinsulinemia, which is one of the main causes of Meniere's. And so, of course, when you lower salt, that's going to lower the blood pressure and cause fluid shifts. But if somebody has a normal fasting insulin level, you can eat as much salt as you want. You get to salt your food to taste. So it has nothing to do with salt. I actually have a video on this channel about Meniere's disease, D. Johnson. Watch that video and apply those principles. And I also have links to the research down in the show notes. Buck, does donating blood provide any health advantage to the donor? I donate regularly since I'm a type O. So I was actually doing research for a YouTube video on this because I had been taught as a medical student and still believed as a doctor that there were several health benefits for people who donated blood, like probably lower, cholesterol, lower blood pressure. I don't know. But I did the research for the video, and you may have noticed I didn't make that video because there's literally no proven advantage to the donor for giving blood. There's also no negative health impact either. We replace that blood very quickly. Okay, within just a week or two, that blood's completely replaced. And there is some research that might show that giving blood routinely like this might be a life extension hack, maybe, but that's not proven. But there's a lot of people in the life extension community and they actually, even if they don't donate it, they'll just go and have a unit of blood removed, like every 2 months, every 3 months. And now the one thing it will do is lower your ferritin about 30 points, and it will make your A1C falsely low for a few weeks. So if you need to trick your health insurance company or somebody and get a really low A1C number, then give blood the day before you go and have or 2 days before, 3 days before, something like that, before you go and get your A1C checked, and it'll be falsely a point or two lower than it actually is. Now, there's no health benefit in that, but there might be a health insurance benefit to that, right? Just a thought. Good question. Sandy says, my doctor told my 73-year-old sister her high cholesterol has nothing to do with her diet, but instead enzymes. HDL 61, which is pretty good. LDL is 230, which is meaningless. Total cholesterol 330, which is meaningless. Mine's actually 350, but her triglycerides are high at 206. They need to be under 150, and her A1C is high. She's pre-diabetic at 5.8. He wants to put her on her statin. So he literally completely ignored her prediabetes and her hypertriglyceridemia, and all he wants to talk about is the LDL. You understand how that's wrong? You do obviously understand why that's wrong, Sandy. That's ignorance on your doctor's part. Your sister needs to focus 100% of her effort on eating lower carb than she currently is. So whatever amount of carbs she's eating a day, she needs to cut that in half. That will bring her A1C back down to normal, and that will reduce her risk of having a heart attack or stroke immensely. And that will also bring her triglycerides back down under 150, back to normal, which will also reduce her risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. And the research actually shows that women who have a higher total cholesterol or a higher LDL cholesterol actually live longer and have cancer less often. So, yeah, I would focus on the A1C and the triglycerides, Sandy. I like my patients to live a long time. I'm funny that way. I don't know. Some doctors maybe don't care about that. Ibsters, hello from the UK. I've been on keto for 2 years and lost 154 pounds. Are you guys all ready? You ready? Huzzah! Just started Carnivore in 2023. Can you safely fast on Carnivore like you can on keto? Yeah. If when you eat a Carnivore meal, you eat to full satiety, which means you eat until you're comfortably stuffed. You don't portion control. You don't calorie count. You eat until you cannot comfortably eat another bite. You can absolutely fast on Carnivore. Absolutely. Yes. Well done, hipsters. Eva, I'm on Carnivore for a few months. How can I support my teeth and gums, especially heal and avoid decay and maybe caries? You can do that, Eva, by doing exactly what you're doing, by eating a carnivore diet. Did you know back when humans, before the agricultural revolution, about 12,000 years ago, when we find human skull fossils, all of their teeth are pristine. Unless they had a tooth knocked out by trauma, they have all their teeth and they have no cavities. Back when they were eating an all meat diet, or at least a very, very, very meat heavy diet, cavities, the bacteria that cause cavities in your teeth, they must have sugar in your diet. They must have starches in your diet. If you remove all the sugar from your diet and all the grains from your diet, which basically turn into sugar, and all the legumes and beans and peas from your diet, which are starch, they turn into sugar, and you remove the vegetable seed oils, and you eat lots of fatty red meat and eggs with the yolk, did you realize that it becomes virtually impossible for you to develop a cavity? You also change your mouth microbiome when you adopt a carnivore or a proper human diet. You actually, the bacteria that used to drill holes in teeth, remember that commercial? They go away. And you're repopulated with beneficial bacteria that actually protect your teeth. That's one of the many benefits of a proper human diet that many doctors and many dentists either don't know about, or I don't know, maybe they're afraid it'll affect their profits. I hate to be conspiratorial, but at this point, there's so many people out there who have used a very low carbohydrate diet to improve their health. I don't understand how every doctor in the world hasn't heard about this by now and has looked into it. I don't know what's going on with them. Christy says, I have pancreatitis and liver issues. Can I do carnivore and will it help or hurt? It'll absolutely help, Christy. Now, you can't be taking any acid blockers. You need the strong stomach acid that's in your stomach. And you may, your diet, depending on how many bouts of pancreatitis you've had, you may need your doctor to prescribe you pancreatic enzymes if your pancreas has been damaged enough. But you can absolutely do a carnivore diet full of delicious meat and eggs. Absolutely. All right, guys. If you haven't already done so, please, you feel free to share this video on your favorite social media and tell me in the comments if you share it. That's how we reach new people. That's how we reach people who've never heard of this because their doctor hasn't told them about it, is by you sharing my videos and sharing Neisha's videos. That's how we reach new people. Jahay, thanks, Dr. B. Struggle for 19 months after getting the C word which turned into long C word with cytokine storm. Carnivore eliminated all my symptoms, and there were many. And I ended up better than ever. Proper human diet for life. So if any of you guys out there, if you know anybody who's suffering from long C, you might point them towards Jahay's comment here, because this is not the first time I've heard this. I've heard this many, many times, that long C just kind of goes away when you're eating a proper human diet full of fatty red meat and eggs with the yolk. Lottie, can I make pure cow cheek soup that lasts ages and is cheap? Sir, love and peace, everyone. Absolutely, Lottie. You can use any part of the cow, except for the contents of the intestines, the contents of the gallbladder, and the contents of the urinary bladder. Don't use those things. But literally every other part of the cow you can eat as part of your diet. And I encourage you guys to start eating things like cow cheek soup and oxtail and all the parts of the cow. If we're going to harvest the cow, the least we can do is honor the cow by not letting any of the parts go to waste, because they're all nutrient rich, nutrient dense, very uninflammatory. They're going to, in some parts of the cow, like the liver and the spleen and the kidneys, are just superfood multivitamins. And people throw them away or turn them into dog food. And I tell you, who should be eating that is the people who have vitamins and mineral deficiencies. That's who should be eating it. So yes, huzzah to cow cheek soup. I have never tried that, but I would definitely come to your house, Lottie, and let you fix me a bowl. Dara, help me keep my gallbladder 1 week out of a short hospital stay with pancreatitis. No stones found. That's important. But vultures want to take it. And by vultures, she means the surgeons. Ate too much fat yesterday and fasted today, just had bone broth. So there's only a few reasons you should have your gallbladder ever taken out, ever. This includes Dara and all you guys. If you have a stone that is blocking your cystic duct, that's a gallbladder attack. Currently we can't fix that. You're going to have your gallbladder out. If you have a ruptured gallbladder from a car wreck, or you fell off a roof and ruptured your gallbladder, you're going to have that taken out. If you have an infected gallbladder, cholangitis, you're probably going to have your gallbladder taken out. If, however, all you have is gallbladder sludge, you do not need your gallbladder taken out. If you have a dysfunctional gallbladder or gallbladder dyskinesia, that just means your gallbladder is weak because you haven't been eating enough fat. As you slowly increase your fat intake, your gallbladder wall is going to strengthen. If you got sludge, it's going to push it right out. Even if you have gallstones themselves, and unless they're blocking the cystic duct, you do not need to have your gallbladder removed. Dara, I want you to go back to the surgeon and say, why the hell? Again, or do you want to take my gallbladder out? I don't have a stone blocking the duct. I don't have a ruptured gallbladder, and I don't have a gallbladder infection. And I was told those are the three reasons that I absolutely must have my gallbladder taken. Why do you want to take mine out? There's no stone in there. And obviously there must not be any sludge, or they would have mentioned that. Why do they want to take your gallbladder out other than to charge your insurance and make their Mercedes payment? I don't have a clue why they would want to take your gallbladder out. You need to keep your gallbladder. Jim, hey doc, I suffer from OCD. Could you please fix the books on the shelf behind you? Hey, you know what Neisha and I were just talking about today? I'm going to Texas this coming week to speak at a regenerative ranching, regenerative agriculture conference. And she said, while you're gone, do you mind if I kind of tidy up your bookshelves? And I was like, as long as you keep them close to where they're at right now, I don't care. So Jim, next week when I get back and this looks better, you can thank Neisha for that. Love your information, and thank you for continuing to fight the good fight. Be well, brother. Jim, I won't ever stop fighting because I'm a doctor. I took an oath. My job is to help improve the health of as many people as I can. That's my job. And I used to just do that in my little clinic in Camden, Tennessee. I just helped people that lived in Benton County. But now, thanks to social media, I can help people I've never met and maybe never will meet. I can help them improve their health. Why wouldn't I do that? That's literally what I am called to do. And I won't ever stop unless there's handcuffs involved. Who knows? All right. Jerry, Ketovore for 9 months, lost 30 pounds. Beautiful. Blood work yesterday. My total cholesterol was 311. My LDL was 231. My A1C was 5.7. So it's still 1/10 of a percentage point high. You're almost there, Jerry. One more tenth of a point, and you will have completely reversed your type 2 diabetes. Uric acid 9.1. Your thoughts, please. What do I need to do? You need to keep eating Ketovore, which is under 10 total grams of carbohydrates a day, and get your labs checked in 3 months. Now, I don't care that your total cholesterol is 311. I don't care that your LDL is 231. I wish I knew what your triglycerides were, but you didn't include that. But those numbers don't increase your risk of anything bad. The only thing they increase your risk of is that your doctor might harp on you to take a statin. And you don't need to worry about that. You need to focus on the most important thing, and that's your A1C still a 1/10 of a point high. That's the thing that's going to increase your risk of heart attack or stroke. Focus on that. Stefano, Dr. Berry, I've been in and out of keto for the past 10 years. Recently had a diverticulitis flare-up, probably because you were off keto. 3-day fast, and then keto cured this immediately. There you go. Keto is optimal physically and especially emotionally. Thank you. I appreciate you, Stefano. I'm so glad you figured this out. Initially, when people start keto, they're like, well, it's the weekend. Why can't I have a piece of pie? It's just this one day. It's just one piece of pie, and then I'm going to go right back on it. But if you have a condition that could flare up like diverticulosis, I would highly advise you not have the pie, because it ain't worth having a flare-up of diverticulitis or a flare-up of some mental condition that you had in remission because you were on keto. It's not worth the glycation that's going to happen to all your cells and tissues from the sugar. It's not worth the inflammation that you're going to get. And that inflammation may show up in your joints, in your skin, in your gut, in your mental health. It's not worth having to suffer for 3 or 4 days for that damn piece of pie. And many people, they'll do that, and then they'll suffer for 3 days, and they're like, oh, hell no, I'm not. It's not worth it. It's not even a treat. Now that I know that literally causes disease, how is that a treat? It's like people who used to formerly be alcoholics, and their friends are like, hey, you want a drink? And they're like, hey, no, I don't, because alcohol's poison and I'm a recovering alcoholic, you moron. Why would I want to drink? I don't consider that fun. I don't consider that a treat. I consider that a disease. And that's what I consider pie, unless it's very well made keto pie, eaten very rarely. Good question, Stefano. Sandra, just watched an ad for Nano E CBD oil for pain. Is it safe? Yeah, I think all the CBD oils, if the ingredients are, read the ingredients, always read the ingredients of everything you're about to put in or on your body. If the ingredients are clean, I think CBD oil is fine. And I think it's safe. Now, the question is it really going to help your pain? Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure the company doesn't have any controlled research to prove that it helps. If they did, it would be FDA approved and cost 10 times as much, maybe 20 times as much. But give it a try. I don't think it's going to hurt you at all. I'm on the challenge. Oh, Sandra's in the group. She's doing the Ketovore challenge. I've been doing keto and it doesn't help my back pain, so she's going to tighten it up to Ketovore and see if that helps. Would it be better to try? Yeah, definitely try Ketovore for 90 days, Sandra. If that doesn't help the back, then go straight Carnivore for 90 days. Then if that doesn't help the back and your symptoms are truly disabling, then you might need to go into the knife. But before I did that, I would get a second opinion from another surgeon who was in no way affiliated with the first surgeon, just to verify that you truly need surgery. Any of you guys, if you've got surgery coming up, never just have one surgeon, the guy who's going to make the money from your surgery, say, oh, you need surgery. Because there are some surgeons out there that are just like car mechanics. They'll tell you need a new transmission and a new motor when all you need is an oil change. There are surgeons out there like that. They're rare, but they exist. And so before any of you guys have any surgical procedure, unless it's an emergency life or death surgery, you need to go to another unrelated doctor who's unaffiliated with that surgeon and say, I brought my records. I want you to look over this. How would you treat this? Don't even say, do I need surgery? Just say, what would you recommend I do about this? And you might get an answer that surprises you, that you don't need surgery. Then you'll know a secret fact about that first surgeon, won't you? See how that works? Just because you're a patient doesn't mean you can't be the smartest person in the relationship. Never forget that. Kitty joined. She's a super sticker now. Thank you, Kitty. Leah, hey, my wellness check was good except elevated C-reactive protein. It was 3.8. And my ESR was greater than 130. So you do have inflammation in your body, Leah. The problem, the C-peptide, the C-reactive protein, and the ESR are both good non-specific markers of inflammation. So what they tell us is that you do have inflammation somewhere, but it doesn't tell you anything about where it's at. So it could be an ingrown toenail. Could be that huge infected zit on your back you've been picking at when you know you shouldn't have been picking it. You might have an ulcer in your mouth. You might have cancer. You might have any number of things. But if you're like, oh no, I did twist my knee a few weeks ago, that's why your CRP and your ESR are high. It's just inflammation somewhere in your body. Could be infection, or it could just be inflammation. So clean up your diet, Leah, and I would get it rechecked next month, CRP and ESR, and see if they went down. If they're going down, good. That's all you want. You just want them to be trending down, and you can get them checked monthly or every 3 months to make sure they're going in the right direction. But if they're going up, or if they're staying the same, then you and your doctor, in a partnership, you're going to start looking for what this inflammation is, where it's coming from, because it can literally be a hangnail that's a little infected. That can make these numbers high, or it could be cancer. You don't have cancer, Leah. Calm down. But it's 99.9% of the time, it's some little thing that you didn't even think about. Or if you just started eating a proper human diet, it could be the inflammation left over because your body still needs more time to heal. That could be it as well. Oh, the Kilby life. I have been carnivore about 10 months. I've lost 40 pounds. My A1C was 6.6. Now it's down to 5.9. So you're no longer type 2 diabetic, Kilby life. Huzzah. You're just pre-diabetic now. Keep it up and it's going to go back to normal. BP, his blood pressure now is finally normal just from diet. My HDL triglyceride ratio was 9.2 and now it's 2.4. My LDL is 482. Should I be concerned? No. Eat fatty meat. Okay. All the research done on total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol was done with the preconceived notion that it was bad and that you needed medicine for it. The reason they did the research was to show that a particular medicine, which you would have to buy, would lower your LDL. It's never been definitively proven that a high LDL increases your risk of anything except living longer and having a lower chance of developing cancer. Your labs are very good. They're almost perfect. Keep going. Keep going on carnivore. You're almost there. Thank you, Cam. Gina, Rowan Y, so that she had gastric bypass surgery. It's a specific kind, Rowan Y. It's really the most aggressive kind, 16 years ago. And also she had her gallbladder removed. Should I still do the supplements? Yes, Gina. Your gastrointestinal system has been permanently surgically mutilated. It is not the same system that God gave you. So they took out a large hunk of the part of your gastrointestinal system that absorbs vitamins and minerals. So you're going to have to definitely eat nutrient-dense foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals, but you'll probably have to take the supplements as well. Loving Carnivore was keto for years, but fell off. Any advice for a new bariatric carnivore? Exo to family. Thank you, Gina. So yeah, carnivore is perfect for you. You may not be able to eat OMAD, 1 meal a day carnivore. You may have to eat 2, 3, or even 4 smaller carnivore meals a day to get the nutrition that you need. And you're probably still going to have to take the supplements because your guts were chopped about by a surgeon and they'll never work again like they used to work. Your guts used to be very efficient, Gina. That's why you were so overweight. Your guts could pull nutrition out of a dried acorn and half a rat's tail. It didn't feel like a blessing, but like you really had a very, very efficient gut, but not anymore. They chopped it up. JM, how do I reverse 90% visceral fat that shows on MRI? So the visceral fat is just like fatty liver. I've got 4 or 5 videos on this channel. If you'll just, after this live, JM, go to my YouTube channel and search for fatty liver. You'll see, watch all those videos, and those videos will tell you exactly what you need to do to get your visceral fat back down to a normal percentage. Now, the normal percentage is not 0% visceral fat. Human beings are the fattiest primate on the planet. We are fatter than any other primate by design or evolution, which could also be called design, depending on how you look at it. It's not going to be 0, but it's going to be back to within normal limits. And that's what you want. And so I would go, if I were you, I would just do 90 days of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. You can eat as much as you want, as many times a day as you want, and eat till you're full. Do that for 90 days and then have them recheck your fatty liver. And I think in your visceral fat, I think you'll find that it is much, much, much improved. Good question. Zippor has a bit of an inflammatory question, but also I think it's a valid question. Is there really a large rise in young people having heart attacks, or is it just false clickbait? Anybody else wondering this? Yeah, it's a good question. And so there have been a lot of videos out there of young, healthy athletes literally just dropping dead. I don't know if we have enough research on this to know if there's been a huge increase or if it's just something that's on everybody's mind right now. And so when they do see it, they post it. It's kind of like when you buy a new car and then you had never noticed that model and make of car on the road, really. But now when you buy it, you see them everywhere. It could be partly that, or it could be that there are young people just dropping dead with a much higher frequency now. And many people are blaming it on a medical intervention that was effectively forced on many of the young people. I don't think we have the research to answer Zippor's question, but I do think it should make all of us think and question and research and read and ask questions. And if anybody gets mad at you for asking a question, that's a red flag. If anybody gets mad at you for reading about something, that's a red flag. Why? Anytime you're learning about something, that's a good thing. Even if some people would consider it a conspiracy theory, it's still great brain exercise, if nothing else. So valid question, Zippora, but I don't think, at least I don't know of enough research to give you a definitive answer on that. Sven started October the 1st, 2022 with 72 hours fasting every week, lost 94 pounds. Huzzah, Sven. After being stalled in weight loss for 12 months, carnivore since September 2019. Yeah. And for many people, the carnivore diet will take them far down their journey of improving their health and getting them back to an ideal body weight range. But for some people, it won't get them all the way. It's only when they incorporate some degree of intermittent fasting, somewhere between an 18-hour daily fast all the way up to a 72-hour fast once a week. And for many people, that's what unsticks them from that stall. So all you guys, I've got a lot of videos on this channel about intermittent fasting. If you've been doing great on keto, ketovore, carnivore, but your progress is kind of stalling out, you probably need to start watching the fasting videos, because that's probably going to be the next step that's going to get you to the next destination on your journey. Plus, fasting is healthy for you in hundreds of ways. Lily says, I've been keto since August, lost 50 pounds. Huzzah so far, but 1 week before my period, I'm starving. I crave everything and I eat everything. What is up with that? How can I stop it or control it? So my wife, Neisha, would be the better person to ask. She used to have very severe premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, to the point where at one point before we met, she was taking a prescription for it. And now on Ketovore, she's still, that week before is still not the best week of her month, but it is not the ordeal that it used to be for her. So Ketovore or Carnivore, I think you're going to notice the best premenstrual symptom improvement. If it's a meat-heavy keto filled with only real whole foods, no keto cookies, cakes, pies, shakes, bars, real keto food, meat-heavy, that's going to help too. But Ketovore, Carnivore would be the way to go. And like I said, that week is still not going to be the best week of your month, but it's going to be much less severe, much better than it currently sounds like it is. Sue, Carnivore 110 days, ESR, CRP, RF, ANA, all negative. I do have osteoarthritis, but still can't function without NSAIDs. Otherwise doing well. 71 years old, by the way. Any ideas on neck, back, shoulder pain? Heating pad, chiropractic, maybe acupuncture. All of these things might help. And they're definitely safer than taking anti-inflammatory medications every single day, multiple times a day, Sue. So if you can take less of the NSAIDs, that's a victory. And so if you're like, okay, I got a heating pad, I keep that on there all the time. I go to the chiropractor once a week and I go to the acupuncturist once a week, and none of them have cured it, which I'm not saying they will, but it's less severe, then you can take less anti-inflammatory medicines. Does that make sense? And I think if you have an occasional flare-up and you take ibuprofen or Aleve or naproxen a day or two, and then you don't take it again for a month or two, that's how they're meant to be taken. That's perfectly safe. But for all you guys who are taking daily ibuprofen, Aleve, Motrin, Advil, naproxen, sodium, all those things, if you're taking that every day, you've got to work on the inflammation. Now, Sue's 71. And she may have some severe pre-existing arthritis that's still going to give her some pain. Also, Sue, you need to be moving more. Even though I know it hurts when you move, if you can lift some weights, if you can do some range of motion, even though it hurts, it is going to make it better in the long term. And then you can take less of the daily anti-inflammatories. Sir Digby Chicken Caesar. That's a pretty good handle right there. Hello, I started Carnivore in 2023 after 2 years on keto with a weight loss of 154 pounds. I was wondering, can you fast on Carnivore? Do you advise it? Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. And it may not be necessary, but if you're losing weight on Carnivore, but you're like, yeah, it's kind of stalling out, then absolutely watch my videos on this channel about fasting and start to implement them along with your carnivore diet. It's perfectly safe. Deborah, Dr. Berry, do you still recommend daily spinach to protect against macular degeneration? I have early signs of AMD, but want to ditch the spinach. No, I do not. When I made the macular degeneration video, that's been what, 2 or 3 years ago. I mentioned spinach because there's a study that shows a possible benefit from adding spinach. But now looking back, yeah, ditch the spinach, Deborah. Eat the fatty red meat and the eggs with the yolk. That's going to protect your eyes from any advancement of the AMD. It's going to stop the progression. Barb. Hey, Dr. Berry, can you please do a video or chat session about lipedema? I recently realized I have it. I have lost 50 pounds on Ketovore, but of course my legs are still a problem. I was told to not eat salt, which is ignorant. You know that, Barb. You need to salt your food to taste like every other mammal on the planet does. So, yeah, I actually spoke at a lipedema conference that was hosted by my good friend, Siobhan Huggins. If you don't follow Siobhan Huggins, Barb, you need to search her out. She has lipedema, and she's very sharing, very giving, and she shares with you. And she basically eats a high-fat carnivore diet now, and I'm pretty sure she salts her food to taste. And her lipedema now is less severe and gives her fewer symptoms now than it has since she had it many, many years ago. Good question. Rachel says the PhD community is amazing. I agree. I think you guys are an amazing group of people. If you want to join our PhD community, there's a link in the show notes. $5 a month. That's cheaper than your copay that you go to the doctor. It's cheaper than your copay at the pharmacy. And with $5 a month, you can literally transform your health with the help of me, my wife, Neisha, who's a registered nurse, and a health coach and a nutrition coach and a certified breastfeeding consultant, and the 3,000 plus people in there who are actively transforming their health, and they're realizing a level of health that they never even dreamed that would be possible again. drberry.com/community. That'll take you straight to it. Thank you for the super sticker. Lottie, does slow cooking cheaper cuts of meat and adding chicken livers to cook slow, does the slow cooking take away the nutrition? So the answer is no, Lottie. It does. The longer you cook something, or the more thoroughly you cook it, you are going to lose a small amount of the vitamin content. You're not going to lose any of the minerals, but you will lose a small amount of the vitamins, but not much. And remember, chicken livers are a superfood multivitamin. And so absolutely buy the cheaper cuts, because I know meat's getting pricey, and throw some chicken liver in there. And that's it. You've solved the problem right there, Lottie. Post if you're in our community, post your recipe, because there are many people that would love to try that. Sam, following up on donating blood, how about donating plasma? I worry about what they do with the blood before it goes back in. So there's a standardized process how they handle the blood. They really don't, to my knowledge, they really don't do anything weird with it. It's protected the entire time, and they extract the plasma, and then they put your red blood cells back in, and the other white blood cells and other stuff. They just take out the plasma. I think it's perfectly safe to do it. I don't know the exact procedure. It's been years since I studied that, but I'll look into that, Sam D. And if there's anything to worry about, I'll post it here on my YouTube channel in the community feed, and also on my Facebook. But I think it's perfectly safe and fine. Alan, what are your thoughts on animal-based supplements? For example, krill oil, fish oil, wild salmon oil, organ supplements, mussels, and oyster supplements. So my thoughts on that, Alien T, would be, why are you not eating fish, eating wild salmon, eating mussels and oysters? Why do you still have the false belief that to have your best health, you have to take a capsule or a supplement or a liquid? Why do you think that? Why don't you just buy cod liver oil? It comes in a can, just like sardines or tuna, and it's packed in cod liver oil. Eat the cod liver and then drink the oil out of the can. That's it. You're going to get all the omega-3s, all the fat-soluble vitamins, all that stuff, and it's going to cost you literally $1.50 or $2. Stop with the supplements. You don't need supplements. Hi, Bonnie Blue. You want to say hi?
She says it's time for me to.
Bonnie Blue says it's time for me to get off here. Thank you. Oh, we got a new member, Dave. Welcome, Dave. Krista, look at my Bonnie Blue. This is our little Ketovore baby. What did she eat today? She's got 2 little teeth. She's 6 months old. She eats lots of breast milk, and she also had a little avocado today. What else?
That's all today.
Yesterday, she had some lamb and some pork rib and some scrambled eggs.
Did you kill some of my lambs?
Not yet, but when it's time, you want to come say hi, Beckett, and show them your muscles? Here, hold Bonnie. Let Beckett come say hi. Come here. Get up here and show them your muscles.
What'd you eat today, baby?
What'd you eat today?
Cheeseburger and skinny sausage.
And
Skinny sausage. Yeah, he had pork sausage, and he had a hamburger with cheese on top with no bun. Because what do buns give you? You eat buns. Fatty liver. So that's how we're raising our kids. Look at this kid. Look at this. He's already in kindergarten, by the way. He's 3.5. So not bragging or anything. Get out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here. Let me finish up. I'll come play with you.
I just need a kiss.
Mwah. I love you. Get out of here.
No.
Krista says, I have pancreatitis and liver issues and high blood pressure, trying carnivore for about a week now. I'm still really tired. Will this help or hurt? 100%, Krista, it's going to help. Just go slow. Take your time. Be patient. It may take 90 or even up to 180 days. Pancreatitis is rough, as you know. I don't have to tell you, Krista. And it can cause liver and gallbladder issues. The high blood pressure is going to come down as you eat a very, very low carbohydrate, essentially zero carbohydrate carnivore diet, right? When your insulin comes down, you're going to pee off anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds of unhealthy fluid that your body's been storing. That's going to lower your blood pressure, okay? Your liver is going to regenerate and heal itself. And if you've got fatty liver, that's going to go away by eating carnivore as well. And you're not going to be eating or drinking things on carnivore that's going to piss off your pancreas again. Sounds like a win-win-win to me. All right. Dara, recovering from pancreatitis. I think we already did yours, didn't we, Dara? Yeah, we already did that, I think. Patty, can I put Redmond salt in any drink along with coffee? Yeah, you can put Redmond salt. We love Redmond salt, or you can put the Daily Minerals because it has a salty taste. You can put that. I put this in every cup of coffee. I put about 15 drops. That way I know I'm getting plenty of minerals. If I get too many, I just urinate them out. Not a big deal. But if I need some, I got them right there. Okay. Semi-retired Bob. Hey, Bob. Thanks again, doctor. Now down 126 pounds in 8 months. Anybody else need them some of that? Semi-retired Bob did it, and he's semi-retired. Bob's a great guy. Love Bob. He's in our community too. Tish in Tennessee. I had multiple gallstones and a detached gallbladder that had to come out. Do I need to take enzymes? So typically, if you have your gallbladder out, your liver is still producing bile. And the collecting ducts in your liver will take on, they will actually dilate and start to store more bile, kind of mimicking the function of your gallbladder. It's never quite as good. And that's why some people wind up having diarrhea the rest of their life after they have their gallbladder taken out. Okay. But you might benefit at least for a month or two from an ox bile supplement. If your pancreas is fine, then you don't need to worry about taking digestive or pancreatic enzymes. Make sure you're not taking any kind of acid blocker. You need the acid in your stomach. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Here's Padawan. Hey, Dr. Berry, do you know about Stargardt's disease and how keto affects it? Keto's not going to affect it in any negative way. This is a very rare condition, but there's no reason why you can't reap all the benefits that come from eating a proper human diet. Sam, been doing carnivore for 4 months. My ferritin levels are 781. Doctor thinks I have liver damage. Did your doc check your liver enzymes? Triglycerides are 154. They're almost normal, still a little bit high. HDL 76, that's great. VLDL 33. LDL was 513. Cholesterol 546. Yeah. So don't worry about your LDL. I mean, your HDL. I don't worry about your LDL or your total cholesterol. You got to get the triglycerides down. Continue carnivore. I want to know what your AST, your ALT, and your GGT were. Sam, you can go back and rewatch this and write those down. That's how we're actually going to know if you have liver damage or not. So that's what your doctor needs to be checking. Also, an A1C and a fasting insulin. I need to know what those are. Oh, Gary said his triglycerides were 176. Okay, so still too high. So keep cutting the carbs, keep the carbs super low, and the triglycerides will come down. Artist. Hey, doc, I have a chronic epigastric pain for a year. Doc's not sure what it is. Any tips? I am carnivore, but still causing a lot of pain after eating. Pain when fasting too. Even bone broth aggravates it. So this has got to be investigated more, artists. This may not be your esophagus or stomach. This might be your heart. This might be your pleura. This might be something else in your mediastinum. This has got to be investigated. Have you had a CAT scan of your chest and abdomen yet? If not, you need one at this point because your diet, it should not be that's definitely not causing the stomach pain. You've got to get this investigated thoroughly, even if it means going to a specialist or finding a new doctor. All right. Alicia Alcia. I've been on Wellbutrin 300 XL for 10 years. Anytime I've ever backed off it, it gets dark fast. I've been keto for 5 years now. How can I know when it is safe to try to back off of it? So what I would do is I would get your doctor to prescribe you a 300 and a 150 because you're going to have to go down very slow because you've been on it a long damn time. Take 300 today, 150 the next day, 300 the next day, 150, and do that for a month or 2 or 3. Then you can try just going to 150 a day. Do that for 2 or 3 months. Then go to 100. Do that for 2 or 3 months. And then you can go down to the next dose or maybe consider stopping it from that point. Antidepressants change the way your brain works, and your brain needs time. Doctors are taught very well how to titrate up, how to start and increase these medicines, but they aren't taught how to decrease them and stop them. So just because your symptoms show up, that could actually be a withdrawal symptom and not meaning that you still need the medication, but you're going to have to wean it very, very slowly. Good question. Mark. Hey, Dr. Barry. Oh, cousin Mark. In the UK, I bet we're related, does 1,000 milligrams of metformin daily for someone who has an A1C of 41 seem excessive? God bless America. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So your A1C is 41. So you still have an A1C. It's still a little bit elevated, Mark. So keep cutting the carbs. And then at some point, when your A1C gets under 38 or less, you can stop the metformin. You won't need it anymore. Okay? I found my conversion chart. I am Warlock. I am carnivore to heal diverticulitis and CLL leukemia, and my husband will not stop nagging me to eat vegetables. Your husband loves you. You know this. That's why he's doing this, because he still believes, falsely, but still, he believes this in his heart of hearts, that vegetables are magical, that you need the phytochemicals in plants. You don't. Okay. You with diverticulitis, you need to probably eat as low plant as you can, as much carnivore as you can. The CLL leukemia is not a solid tumor. It's more of a bone marrow cancer. It may or may not improve with carnivore, but carnivore sure the hell ain't going to hurt it. Okay. You need to be very, very low carb, no sugars at all, no grains at all, no vegetable seed oils at all. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. Neisha's getting the knife. She's going to stab me. You know she's half Puerto Rican, right? All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back. I'll see you next time. Thanks for super chats. Thanks for joining our private community. I promise you it'll be worth $5 a month to be part of this tribe. The link's down in the show notes. Thank you very much.